Kidwelly is a town located in southwest Wales. It's nestled between the towns of Carmarthen and Llanelli, with a population of about 3,500 people.
The town itself is considered ancient, with the earliest mention of it being from the 9th century. Its formation and founding is somewhat blurry and likely to have been done by local warlords. The town grew and prospered during the Industrial Revolution and benefited from industry advancement and mining, growing into the peaceful community that it is today. Sometimes you can still get a glimpse of its bloody and violent history, even if only from the corner of your eye. A substantial castle was constructed on the site by Edward I to enforce his ring of steel and oppression upon the Welsh people. And prior to its completion, it was a simple motte and bailey made of earth and wood, built during the Norman invasions. The castle is said to be haunted by the headless ghost of Princess Gwenllian, who fiercely led her army against the Norman invaders at a site not far from the castle, now known as Fleece Gwenllian. Gwenllian's forces ultimately lost the battle, and it's under dispute over whether she fell in battle or was captured then beheaded at the castle site. But her ghost is alleged to wander the castle and the battleground as well, dressed in a grey robe. Witnesses claim that when one's close enough, it's plainly obvious that there is no head beneath that hood. Around 2 miles from Kidwelly, along the main road to Tramsaran, sits a long disused stone bridge, dating back to the 16th century, locally known as Spudder's Bridge, which is also alleged to harbour a ghost. Legend tells the story of Nest, daughter of Elfyn Dwr, who was at the time in possession of Kidwelly Castle. Nest had fallen in love with a young knight who would meet in secret with him at the bridge. But disaster would strike, as one evening the young knight was ambushed by hired thugs and run through with an arrow before Nest's very eyes, after which they threw his body off the bridge and into the black waters below. In her grief and despair, Nest threw herself off the bridge after her sweetheart, and in the wake of this event, her ghost is said to haunt the bridge, and if approached, disappears with a piercing scream. But this ghost, it seems, also likes to wander, and stories were told of the White Lady in nearby Tramsaran, a ghostly white figure moving through a local wood, preceded by a piercing scream as the night and darkness would fall. Not far from the bridge lay the ruin of an ancient chapel, long forgotten and left to nature. Past archaeological digs have discovered an even older structure beneath, dating back centuries. Several skeletons were unearthed during this process. On the chapel grounds also runs a stream leading to a small waterfall, which is said to have the healing ability. And here again, it's said that the White Lady makes another appearance. Shrieking, piercing screams are said to be heard along the old road that runs beside the chapel, and the words "it is long and cold and tiresome to wait for the descendants of Will Walter" can be heard with the shrieks on the wind. Over the years, many claim to have seen the White Lady, with one account claiming to have witnessed a figure in white following behind her children. As she called her children in for tea, the figure was seen creeping behind them through the Tramsaran woods, and as the children emerged, a scream filled the air. Birds preparing to roost squawked and flew away in panic. Dropping her eyes back to the wood, however, not a trace of the white figure was to be found. She hurried her children inside, who immediately told the anxious mother that he had been talking to the White Lady. Had she not witnessed the figure for herself, she would not have believed it. She quickly forbade the children from playing in the woods again, and did her best to forget it. Another witness to the apparition was a local farmer who lived in close proximity to the chapel, and having returned home late from the fields, remembered he had to close and secure the gates as he'd recently received a delivery. Now well after dark, he set off down his track and heard cries on the wind, but simply wrote it off as an animal call. As he arrived at the gates, he sure enough found them unsecured and set about making them secure. Finishing his task, he turned to head home, but found himself face to face with the white lady. His family found him shaken the next morning and telling him the tale. He had no recollection as to what had happened in that time, nor did he know how he arrived home. But after that experience, he secured and locked the gates well before sunset and chose to stay at home during the hours of darkness. A little farther down the road, as you travel through Trimsaran towards Llanelli, there's another locally known haunt. Though technically not in the Kidwelly area, it does border it. Straddy Wood has many a chilling story and urban legend attached to it, and is well known as a place that people have travelled to give up on life. The story tells that during the 1930s, a young female runner was tragically hit and killed by a motor vehicle and passed away at the scene. Over the years since, many a motorist has witnessed the spirit of the girl running along the road, some even swerving to avoid collision. The local police have also confirmed that on more than one occasion they've been called out to reports of a young woman running along the road at night, wearing old-fashioned clothes and no lights. As you travel further into Llanelli, there are yet more stories and tales, from haunted homes to poltergeists in pubs. But their tales for another night.